ये जो श्लोक क्रमांक 58 है, जो कूर्म योग है, ये मेरे सबसे पसंदीदा श्लोकों में है। तो इसमें जब ये बात हो रहा था कि आप अपने इंद्रियों को समेट लीजिए या समेटने की बात हो रही थी, तो इससे इस गीता के श्लोक से ईशावासी उपनिषदों के बहुत सारे श्लोक अचानक से एकदम से क्लियर हो गए। जैसे वो बहुत विख्यात श्लोक है जो वायुरनिलम इदम भस्मांत शरीरम ओम क्रतुस्मर कृतम स्मर। तो इसका जो पहला लाइन है वो था कि प्राण और इंद्रिय समष्टि में समेट जाए। तो वो बात मुझे उससे संबंधित लगी कि जो इंद्रिया जो है वो कृष्ण खोल के अंदर समेट जाए। और फिर जो स्मरण की बात की आपने, तो
देखो,
क्या
पहली बात तो ये कि जब कुछ अच्छा लगे तो बहुत पसंद आए तो थोड़ा सावधान हो जाया करो। कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कि जगत में बैठना नहीं चाहते, इसलिए बात बहुत लुभावनी लग रही है कि कछुए की तरह इंद्रियों को समेट लो। कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि जो कुछ भी पसंद आएगा उसमें खतरा ही होता है, लेकिन भूलो नहीं मन की प्रवृत्ति। मन को आमतौर पर पसंद वही आता है जो मन की वृत्तियों को और स्थापित और बलवान करता है। जिस श्लोक का आप हवाला दे रहे हो उसको बहुत आसानी से मन जगत से अपने आप को खींच लेने के पक्ष में प्रमाण की तरह प्रयोग कर सकता है। वो विथड्रॉल के लिए एक एक आसान सहयोग बन सकता है। वो नहीं होना चाहिए। मैं जानता हूं ना ऐसे लोगों को जो जब किसी जगह पर अपने आप को बहुत उपयुक्त नहीं पाते, एक तरह से जब वो किसी जगह पर अपने आप को हीन पाते हैं तो वो कछुए की तरह अपने आप को समेट लेते हैं। कृष्ण ने ऐसा नहीं चाहा है, पर मन किसी भी श्लोक का किसी भी तरह से उपयोग कर सकता है। मैं आशा यही कर रहा हूं कि तुमने ऐसा कुछ नहीं करा होगा, पर सावधान करने के लिए तुमको ये सब कह रहा हूं। कछुए की तरह स्वयं को खोलने समेटने का अर्थ ये नहीं होता है कि तुम किसी जगह पर हो और वहां जाकर कोने में दुबक गए। कृष्ण का जो व्यक्तित्व है ना, वो बहुत हद तक गीता के संदेश से मेल भी खाता है। कुछ बातें उसमें ऐसी भी हैं जिनका गीता से कोई सरोकार नहीं दिखता। कृष्ण एक बहुत व्यवहारिक और संसार कुशल व्यक्ति हैं। जंगल में उपदेश नहीं दे रहे, रण के बीचों बीच मौजूद है। उनको तुम देख करके ये बिल्कुल नहीं कह पाओगे कि इस व्यक्ति ने कछुए की तरह अपने आप को समेट लिया है दुनिया से। कृष्ण को देखकर कभी भी ऐसा लगता है क्या? लड़ाई में वो मौजूद है, राजनीति में वो मौजूद है, मुकुट उन्होंने धारण कर रखा है, सारथी वो है, सेना उनके पास है। विनोद प्रिय वो हैं, मजे लेते रहते हैं, चुटकुले कहते रहते हैं। जितना वो कठोर हो सकते हैं युद्ध में, वध करते समय तमाम स्त्रियां हैं उनके जीवन में, उनके साथ वो उतने कोमल भी हो जाते हैं। उन्हें शकुनी से भी बात करना आता है और कुंती से भी बात करना आता है, और दोनों के साथ ही जब वो बात करते हैं तो एक सी दक्षता के साथ। बहुत कम ऐसे चरित्र हैं धर्म के पूरे क्षेत्र में। ज्यादातर जो चरित्र हैं वो किसी एक प्रकार के हैं। आप उनका वर्गीकरण कर सकते हो कि ये इस तरह के हैं, इनको इस वर्ग में फिट किया जा सकता है, डाला जा सकता है। कृष्ण को आप नहीं कर पाओगे। वो रण में भी विजेता है और रास में भी, है ना। वो शत्रुओं को भी जीत लेते हैं और प्रेमिकाओं को भी। हम्म। और वही कृष्ण अगर कह रहे हो कि कछुए की तरह भीतर खींच लो अपने आप को, तो फिर सोचो कि वो क्या कह रहे होंगे। वो तुमको ये तो नहीं कह रहे होंगे कि जीवन से अपने आप को भीतर खींच लो। वो तुमको ये भी नहीं कह रहे होंगे कि जीवन के किसी भी क्षेत्र से अपने आप को हटा लो। कृष्ण ने जीवन के किसी भी क्षेत्र से अपने आप को हटाया है क्या? एक ओर तो धर्म की स्थापना करना भी उनको आता है, दूसरी ओर तमाम नियमों को तोड़ना भी कोई कृष्ण से सीखे। वही कृष्ण जो गीता में ही, कुरुक्षेत्र में ही खड़े होके कह रहे हैं धर्म संस्थापना है, धर्म की संस्थापना के लिए ही सब कुछ कर रहा हूं। वही कृष्ण युद्ध के न जाने कितने नियमों को अगले 18 दिनों के भीतर स्वयं ही तोड़ने वाले हैं। द्रोण, भीष्म, कर्ण, जयद्रथ, दुर्योधन और भी। हम्म। तो अब ये सब देख करके समझो कि भीतर होने का मतलब क्या है, और जो भीतर हो जाता है वो कैसा हो जाता है। अगर तुमने वाकई कूर्म सूत्र जैसा तुम कह रहे हो समझा होगा, तो तुम्हारे व्यक्तित्व में भी उसी प्रकार की पूर्णता रहेगी जैसी कृष्ण के व्यक्तित्व में है। तुम सिर्फ ज्ञानी से नहीं बन जाओगे। क्या वो पूर्णता उभर रही है? पूछना अपने आप से। मैं नहीं जानता, तुम्हें कुछ प्रश्न दे रहा हूं बस। कहीं रेक्लूज तो नहीं बन रहे। गीता का संदेश नहीं है ऐसा। गीता न तुमको अलग होना सिखाती है, न भागना। जो कुछ भी है प्रकृति में उपलब्ध, उसको तुम प्रसाद की तरह भोग सकते हो। इसीलिए बहुत कम धार्मिक चरित्र हैं जो नाचते हैं। कृष्ण नाचते हैं। तुम नाच पा रहे हो? कल वीकेंड है। मैं तुम्हारी गीता तब पूरी जानूं जब तुम कल रात में नाच कर दिखाओ। सैटरडे
मुझे
नाइट चैलेंज।
मुझे लगता है आपने बिल्कुल सही पकड़ा, क्योंकि मुझे पतंजलि की योग सूत्र में भी प्रत्याहार सबसे ज्यादा पसंद था, और मुझे ये वर्क फ्रॉम होम खोलने से भी डर लगता है। तो लगता है आपने सही पकड़ लिया ऐसा। मुझे बहुत डर, अच्छा भी नहीं लगता है लोगों से बात करना। और
अब कल गीता को बिल्कुल छोड़ दो और कृष्ण के साथ हो लो। ठीक है? किस शहर में हो अभी?
अभी कोलकाता में हूँ।
तो कोई डिस्को ठीक है वहाँ?
मैंने
बढ़िया वाला?
चेक
किससे
नहीं
पूछ
किया।
रहा हूँ? तुम्हें पता ही होता तो मुझे इतना समझाना क्यों था? कल जाओ। और स्टैग एंट्री नहीं मिले तो उसका प्रबंध करके जाओ। जवान आदमी हो, ठीक ठाक दिखते हो, कुछ ना कुछ प्रबंध हो ही जाएगा।
आप डिस्को की बात
ये
करें, मुझे तो वीडियो कॉल में भी जब भी मैं दफ्तर में किसी महिला कर्मचारी से बात करता हूँ तो भी मुझे डर लगता है। तो
मेरा तो काम है, जहां रोग है सीधे वही उंगली रख देना। तुम ज्ञान मार्गी होना चाह रहे हो, मैं तुम्हें होने थोड़ी ही दूंगा। जो भक्ति की ज्यादा बात करते हैं, जैसे अभी देवी जी कर रही थी, उनको मैंने ज्ञान की बात बताई। तुम ज्ञान की ज्यादा बात कर रहे हो, मैं तुमको नाच की बात बताऊंगा। जो व्यक्ति जो ही मार्ग बहुत जोर से पकड़े हो, समझ लेना वहां उसने अब सुविधा तलाश ली है। वहां अब उसने ठिकाना बना लिया और अहंकार वहां आश्रय पा रहा है। तुम्हारे लिए अब जरूरी है कि कल तुम जाओ बेटा। और अगला सवाल अब तभी पूछना, चाहो तो वहां से लाइव पूछ सकते हो, मैं तैयार हूं। ये कैसी बात है कि महिला कर्मचारी से बात करते हुए भी तुम असहज हो जाते हो? ये क्या बात है? तुम्हारा सारा ज्ञान कहाँ गया? वो भी तो पंचभूत है। ये ज्ञान नहीं याद आता तब?
नहीं, मैं पॉकेट गिटार रखता हूँ भी वो साथ में, लेकिन
भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे। राजदीप, लोग क्या कहेंगे? हाँ, आचार्य जी के साथ इतने दिनों से हो और महिलाओं से बात करते वक्त पॉकेट गीता रखनी पड़ती है साथ में। हम्म। कृष्ण की है गीता। यूं ही नहीं, उनकी पारंपरिक छवि भी बनाई गई है कि एक कृष्ण बीच में खड़े हैं और 10 गोपियां उनके इर्द गिर्द नाच रही हैं। तुमसे एक नहीं बनाई जाती? ये देखो चेहरे पे विवशता के भाव। चलो कोई बात नहीं, अकेले ही जाके बैठ के आ जाओ, लेकिन जाओ जरूर। नहीं समझ पाओगे दुनिया को अगर समय से पहले ही अपने आप को कछुए की तरह वापस खींच लोगे।
धन्यवाद।
मैं पूछूंगा तुमसे, कल बस जाकर बैठ आना, इतना कर दो, ठीक है? कोई खतरा नहीं है इसमें। सिर्फ अवलोकन के लिए तो जा सकते हो ना। बैठे हो, देख रहे हो, क्या है, बस देख लो। कुछ मत करना, कुछ खाना नहीं, कुछ पीना नहीं, दृष्टा की तरह देख तो सकते हो, इतना तो कर लेना।
हाँ, मैं आपकी बात को कंसिडर करूंगा।
सारा शिष्यत्व गायब हो गया। अब कंसीडर करूंगा। ये हाई कमांड है जो मेरी पिटीशन को कंसीडर करेंगे। अब अगला सवाल तभी पूछना जब पहले फ्लोर पे कम से कम आधा घंटा बिता के आ जाओ।
धन्यवाद। Pranam Acharya ji.
Have you fulfilled my condition first of all?
Yes, yes. I went to one nightclub and I video called Anmol sir from there.
Okay.
One Saturday I went.
Good. What did you do there?
I was just sitting and had one orange juice and just watching
What? Orange juice and?
watching people.
What were you watching?
Just I was watching that they were providing meat and there were English songs being played and there was so much lustfulness on the floor, and I found all those three connected. If you just stop the English song, all both of these will automatically get stopped. I was just watching them. It felt very bad actually going there. It felt like there was so much discomfort within me. I thought that I just didn't like that much. But since you asked me, so I had to do.
So just as you watched all the songs and the entire ambience, did you also watch the discomfort within you?
Yes, yes.
Where was the discomfort? Where was the discomfort coming from?
I don't know. Maybe I got so uncomfortable that I took out my pocket Gita and started studying for 2-3 minutes.
That's obvious. I was waiting for you to come to it. By the way, you know, that which matters the most is characterized by its contrived absence. As a young man, when you go to a bar or pub or whatever, if you are normal at all, the first thing you will talk of is girls when you return. And that's one word missing from your description. Now, can we have something on that, please?
Yes. So I saw that there were many boys and girls, they were dancing. So I related their relationship in two ways. I saw that many men were trying to, hug girls, and it seemed that men were taking the first stand. So at first it made me feel that, men are doing and women are receiving at the receiving end. Then I thought, no, it's just physically. Actually, in psychological sense, women are at the top and men are at the bottom. And then I thought, no, even at the deeper level, both are actually caught by Maya. Nobody is above anybody. Both are actually subjugated by Maya. There is a third thing, biology. There's third thing.
Now, this is such a beautiful observation you have made. Why were you then uncomfortable?
I don't know. I felt something is missing there.
Let's try to know. You were seeing something remarkable. You were decoding it perfectly. What made you uncomfortable then?
I don't know. It just felt like maybe a place where there are in a library where I'm sitting and studying Upanishads and doing my work. That is little safer, in my more comfort zone than this.
Safer for whom?
For the insecurities within, because I know if
stick to the technical parlance. Safer for whom?
Safer for the ego. Only the ego feels anything. So it has to be ego. There is nothing else other than ego.
So the Upanishads are turning into a safe house for the ego. And the bar is threatening the ego. Role reversal. The Upanishads are where the ego is finding shelter. Yes. And the bar is where the ego is threatened. So where should you rather be?
I guess I should be at both places. By both places, I mean under the lights of Upanishad, I should try to decode what is going in the bar.
If the ego is finding shelter in Upanishads, will the Upanishads be of any use?
Well, it is the moral. You advocate people to read Upanishads, to read scripture so much.
I definitely advocate that. But are you then even interpreting the Upanishads rightly if the ego is finding shelter there? If you interpret them rightly, then the ego will not quite like them.
I don't know. Actually, I have to. So that is why I suddenly changed my script. I was reading too much Upanishad. So from last 1 or 2 weeks, I have started reading Kabir Sahab. So just to bring out my, just to change the focus of.
Kabir Sahib is a sage right from the Upanishads. You will not be able to find any difference there. It's not that you can keep the Upanishads aside and start with Sakhi Granth and you will have a change of perspective. They both are one. The difference will not be in between these two. The different thing lies elsewhere. See, okay, please understand this. The ego survives because it is very humble in a sense. Two words related to metallurgy are applicable to the ego. It is malleable and ductile. It is fluid and colorless. Except for its essence, it is also very resistanceless to everything else. You put ego in this cup, it takes the shape of this cup. You take a balloon, for example. You press it from one side, what happens?
The other part of the balloon.
The other part gets inflated, right? And simultaneously, you can have the pleasure of success in compressing the balloon. Oh, I managed in manage to compress it, whereas it has only accumulated elsewhere. One has to be very cautious. If the Upanishads really are sinking in, and if you are really appreciating them, then you would be sahaj at all places. Sahaj, you understand?
Yes, sahaj means not mind is sahaj.
Akarshan and Vikarshan are one. Rag and Dvesh are one. When one is all right with oneself, then it is not places that will have the potential to unsettle you. Then you will be all right at all places, and that does not mean that you will be indiscreet about the places you would be found at. Your discretion will definitely guide you the place to go to, the place to avoid. But the avoidance would not be coming from an egoistic point of discomfort. You may at some stage then say, oh, I do not see any point in being at that place, so I am not going there. And that is very different from saying I am not going there because I feel uncomfortable. Do you get the difference? There's one thing, I think I can spend my time better doing something else, I have higher priorities or other priorities or something, whatever. Therefore, I am not going to go to that place. That is one thing. And the other thing is, I am scared. The moment I reach there, I start shaking within. I am trembling in my pants and I have to carry the Bhagavad Gita for security. That's a very different thing. You have to come to a point where you become comfortable. Once you become comfortable, then renounce. If you are renouncing out of discomfort, then you are not renouncing at all, you are still very, very attached. Something you are not attached to, something you do not give importance to you, just cannot make you uncomfortable. Think of it. If something does not matter to you, will it succeed in making you uncomfortable? So, something made you uncomfortable there, means something still holds significance for you there. Come to a point where you could say, I need to walk out, not because I'm feeling threatened or unsafe here, but because now I am seeing through what is happening and I'm feeling bored. The same man woman thing. Now come on, show me something new. And that's the reason why I do not want to be there anymore. So I'm walking out because I'm bored. That's the stage of spiritual maturity. Are you getting it? I can see through it. And because I can see through it, so I don't find it attractive anymore. And the point where you are standing says, I cannot see through it. I experience an attraction, and my morality forbids me from experiencing it, so I am feeling uncomfortable, therefore I don't want to be here. You're getting it? Obviously there is nothing very valuable about that place. Obviously there is nothing special there. But you have to come to a point where you see that there is indeed nothing special there. Right now, you see something special there, and that's why you want to avoid it. It's not a place to be avoided. It's a place you walk past. It's a place you go beyond. Something that you are avoiding a lot will always remain something that you value a lot. You can never transcend something you are not comfortable with. In fact, it is very important to be comfortable so that you may transcend. Are you getting it? It has to become just another place for you. When you are there, you should know that this place is much the same as a classroom, or a morgue, or a cremation ground, or a wedding place. What's the difference? Or a maternity ward? Does that place not contain the sum total of entire life processes we go through? Think of it. Don't you see jealousy there? Don't you see ignorance there? Don't you see desire there? Don't you see money there? Don't you see sensual excitement there? And is that not what we call as life? And if that is present everywhere in life, how is that place different or special? Please tell me. If you are finding that place special, it means you are not seeing these elements elsewhere in life. There, for example, you will find that sexuality is something very open and obvious, no? In a nightclub. And that unnerves you. But that only means that you are not able to see the implicit, the covert sexuality that dances around us all the time. If you are to be annoyed, why are you not annoyed then? With all the people rushing to their offices every morning. Is that not a sexual act? Come on, think of it. Think of it. Obviously, the entire Prakritic process is sexual. From birth till death, everything is sexual. Now, if everything is sexual, how come you are just exclusively uncomfortable with what is happening in the nightclub? Tell me, please. You look at the mother and the daughter, you look at whatever is happening anywhere, you look at that billboard. You go to your organization, what do you think? Your organization is not working for a sexual motive? And what do you think? Sexual motives include only physical ones? Sexuality is a thing of the mind. To be body-centric is to be sexual. That's the definition. And everybody around you lives and dies for the body and as the body. No? So what's special then in the nightclub? Nothing. And once you see that this place is just a microcosm of my entire universe, you will say, now this place holds no great significance for me. This place to me is just the same as the silent and barren street in front of my house. The same things that are happening here are happening there as well. Now this is called samta, samabhav. I can see the same prakritic processes everywhere, everywhere. The shopkeeper and the customer are the same as the man and the woman. The tick-tock of the clock is the same as your heartbeat when you are madly in love. How do you say that sex is there only when a male and a female meet? And if you think that sex is something limited just to two bodies, then you will remain happily oblivious to your sexual bondages all your life, as most brahmacharis do. They think they have abstained from physical union, so they are beyond sex now. The fact is their entire body and the mind is still sexual. Do you want to become one of those brahmacharis who abstain from women but are deeply sexual, not because they are thinking of women all the time? No, I am not alleging that. They might not even be thinking of women, but they are still sexual. Why? Because the body is sexual. The food that you eat is actually a sexual act.
So this hand is a sexual part.
Wonderful. This is a sex organ.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The entire world is just that. And so if you have to be in discomfort, be discomfort.
Everywhere.
Everywhere at all times. Stop seeing that place as exclusive or special or remarkable. In that moment of sensual absorption, you have to remember the Shamshan Ghat. And that's not something forced. That happens. That just happens. And when that starts happening, that's the time you can, with justification, walk out of the nightclub. Because now is the moment when it ceases to hold any value. Not theoretically, in that moment when that attractive, gorgeous woman is there, can you see death? And that does not mean that you have to denigrate her physical beauty. Appreciate that she is physically beautiful in this moment as she is, obviously. Wonderful. The womanly form is something to admire and appreciate, and that's all right. But along with the admiration, can there also be realization in the same moment? She is the old woman just about to die. She is the baby that took birth. She's the billions of insects that are out tonight because it has rained. She's the frog. She's the lizard. So am I. So is this entire movement, this entire existence. And this is not philosophical.
Yes, that is true scientifically. Then the DNA has passed through those.
Don't have to think in these terms. You're trying to justify it using flow of thought, using memorized concepts. No. It is something that you see in the moment. You just see in that moment. When I'm talking to you, I hardly have time to rely on thoughts. But even as you are about to say something, I see in the moment that you are coming from the same place as one particular person did in the 12th century. That has to be seen immediately. Not that I know of someone in the 12th century. It's just so predictable because we are programmed to come from the same place again and again. So it's obvious that something is being repeated. Oh Arjun, was there ever a time when you were not there or I was not there?
No.
You don't have to respond. You have to understand.
I mean, you are talking from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yes. But I am not coming from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I am coming from our discussion in this moment. You are coming from the Gita.
So this is the difference. I am coming from Gita, you are coming from...
Yes, I am not coming from the Gita. Yes, even when I am with the Gita, I am not really coming from a coded scripture. I am coming from life.
I have started sweating after listening to you. I thought that spirituality would be calm and peaceful, but...
It's all right. It's all right. You have a lot of time. Chalo, next.
Thank you so much. Thank you.